Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. John Belkowitz, Intelligent Concrete, doing our coffee talk. It's been a little bit busy around here lately. We've got a bunch of mixes to kick the tires and light the fires on. Wanted to talk about trying out new technologies and what that means for the end user. We get to, our bread and butter is using new technologies or developing new technologies or validating new technologies. So we get to talk new technologies with a lot of different types of folks that are in the critical path of construction every freaking day, and we are rewarded with great conversations and awesome contracts, and we've got some great clients, and part of that working with great clients is some of the obstacles that we have to deal with. There was a book written years ago, I can't remember the author, it's called Getting to Yes, and the book goes over the reasons why people say no to new things or why people say no to a contract, and the way that it works in the concrete or the construction industry. Reviewing failure to me is always a really nice way of trying to figure out how to do things better. So normally when we see somebody say no, let's say at a ready mix plant to a new additive or admixture, they're saying no and they're saving a lot of effing money. Saving no means that they don't need to plumb in a new admixture, buy a new tank for that admixture, deal with the calibration of that admixture in the distribution system, pay for somebody to learn how to sequence it, learn how to deal with the, I guess you could call it the learning curve, of using that new admixture, and then the always unanswered question, who's going to pay for it if something goes wrong? So saying no, they don't have to pay for any of that or worry about any of that. So for them to say yes, they need to see all those things and sometimes more. The safety thing is always a big issue, but never comes up until after the fact. It seems like a lot of people use that as a last-ditch effort. Well, what's the handling of this? Do I have to get a brand new system? Do I have to teach my people new things? Do I have to worry about something with the concrete cracks? If somebody's going to breathe something in? There's always a reason to say no. So this morning, to make a full circle here, I've got a boogie like a used tissue in a little bit, but this morning I had a wonderful conversation with a ready mix provider, one of our buddies, who's looking at adopting a new technology to take care of a certain concrete deterioration. And they just couldn't get to yes. They saw way too what if, way too many obstacles. What if everything goes wrong? The unfortunate thing about working in the concrete industry is that there's always that one if. Years ago, one of our technicians called me a pessimistic, because I said, there's always going to be a failure when you're working with concrete. And if you stop it there, that is very, very pessimistic, but it's really a two-part quote. Unfortunately, on every concrete construction site, there is going to be something that goes wrong. But it's not the going wrong that matters, it's the recovery. And anytime you adopt a new technology, whether it's an additive admixture, a sensor, you're always going to have failure. Good concrete practices dictate that we practice, we try things out before they go into the field on our own concrete mixes to try to steer clear of major failures. So there's always going to be a failure. That's why it has to be taken into account that there needs to be a learning curve. And when I asked my client this morning that, yes, I recognize that there's going to be a failure, and yes, there's going to be a cost to it, but what if the technology works? What if the technology works in a way that ends up saving them hundreds and thousands of dollars every year? If they sell 100,000 cubic yards of concrete in 1 year, one mix design, and they're able to save $1.50 based on a new additive or admixture, and granted they lose about $15,000, $20,000, or they have to invest that amount of money to learn how to use it. Who gives a shit if you're going to save $100, and that's if it only saves $1.50, $150,000 for that entire year. Getting to yes is a very difficult thing, but this morning I mean, there was no way our client could say, or our friend, it wasn't even, not even a client, couldn't say no to trying out the technology once they looked at it from that level. So that was the impetus of today's chat. Wanted to relay that information to y'all. It's a really fun topic to talk about for us. I believe we're going to be in China at NICOM 6, December 2018. I don't know the dates because I don't look that far ahead. But we're going to be out there talking about just that, technological transfer and what it's like to get a new technology from the lab to the field. So if you have any questions, any concrete concerns, shoot us a direct message or something on one of our posts. Thanks for your time. Go concrete, beat asphalt.